Close your eyes now, and take a slow, deep breath in, feeling the cool night air fill your lungs. Hold it gently, and release it softly, letting all tension drift away like moonlight on still water. Did you know that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth, about 3.8 centimeters every year, and one day, far in the future, it will be too distant to light our nights the way it does now? But tonight, while it's still close enough to bathe the world in its gentle silver glow, we're going to discover 100 relaxing facts about our moon that will calm your mind, soothe your body, and help you fall asleep faster than ever before. Let the moon's peaceful presence guide you into deep, restful sleep. Imagine yourself now, floating peacefully above the earth, suspended in the softest darkness you've ever experienced, weightless, free from all gravity's pull, all worries' weight. The darkness around you isn't empty or cold, it's warm with possibility, alive with the gentle glow of our celestial companion. You're drifting slowly, so slowly, toward the moon, and as you approach, you can see its magnificent silver surface growing larger, more detailed, more beautiful with every peaceful breath you take. The moon hangs before you like a perfect pearl in the velvet darkness of space, about 238,855 miles from Earth, though this distance varies slightly as the moon follows its elliptical orbit, sometimes coming as close as 225,623 miles at its nearest point, called perigee, and retreating to 251,990 miles at its farthest, called apogee. But tonight, the moon feels perfectly close, perfectly positioned, as though it's been waiting just for you, to share its ancient secrets, its peaceful presence, its gentle light that has guided travelers and dreamers for billions of years. The silence wraps around you gently, complete and profound. In space there's no air to carry sound, so what you experience is the purest quiet imaginable, not the absence of sound but the presence of infinite peace. This silence is like a soft blanket, comforting, protective, allowing your mind to finally, completely, rest. Everything feels perfectly still as you drift closer to the moon's surface, your breathing slowing to match the patient rhythm of this ancient world, each breath deeper, calmer, more relaxed than the last. The moon's surface is bathed in sunlight on the side facing away from Earth, while the side you're approaching, the familiar face we see from home, glows with reflected Earthlight, that soft blue glow that astronauts described as incredibly beautiful. Our planet hangs in the lunar sky like a brilliant blue and white marble, for times larger than the moon appears from Earth, slowly rotating, showing different continents and oceans, clouds swirling in ever-changing patterns. The moon itself is roughly spherical, with a diameter of about 2,159 miles, just over a quarter of Earth's diameter, making it the fifth largest moon in our solar system. As you drift even closer, you begin to see the incredible detail of the lunar surface, the gray regolith, the ancient rocks, the countless craters of all sizes scattered across the landscape like frozen raindrops. The moon's face is a record of over 4 billion years of history, each impact, each crater, a moment frozen in time, preserved perfectly in the airless environment where nothing erodes the way it does on Earth. No wind, no water, no weather, just the patient accumulation of cosmic dust settling so slowly it takes millions of years to notice. Your peaceful descent continues, and you notice how the moon's gravity is beginning to gently pull at you, though it's much weaker than Earth's, only about 1/6 as strong, meaning that if you could stand on the lunar surface, you would weigh only about 16.5% of your Earth weight. This gentle gravity creates a sensation of lightness, of ease, as though every burden has been lifted, every worry reduced to almost nothing. You feel yourself relaxing even more deeply, your body becoming heavier and heavier on whatever surface supports you back on Earth, while your consciousness floats lighter and lighter in this lunar dream. As you hover peacefully above the moon's surface, floating just a few miles above the ancient gray landscape, you find yourself drifting back through time, witnessing the moon's incredible origin story. The moon was born approximately 4.5 billion years ago, not long after Earth itself formed, and its birth was far more dramatic than you might imagine, though from this peaceful vantage point, the violence of creation feels distant and dreamlike. Scientists believe the moon formed from a giant impact, when a Mars-sized object they call Theia, after the Greek titan who gave birth to the moon goddess Selene, collided with the young Earth. The impact was so tremendous that it vaporized both Theia and a significant portion of Earth's outer layers, sending molten rock and debris spiraling into orbit around our planet. Over time, this ring of material gradually coalesced under its own gravity, slowly coming together, cooling, solidifying, until it formed the moon we see today. This violent beginning created something extraordinarily beautiful and peaceful. The moon and Earth have been gravitational partners ever since, locked in an eternal dance, each one affecting the other in profound ways. The moon's presence has stabilized Earth's axial tilt, keeping it at a relatively constant 23.5 degrees, which gives us our regular seasons and prevents wild climate swings that might have made life much harder to evolve. In a sense, the moon has been Earth's guardian, its steady companion, keeping our world stable and habitable for billions of years. The silence continues to wrap around you. Everything feels perfectly still. You can almost sense the moon's ancient history in its surface, in the way the gray dust lies undisturbed, in the sharp shadows cast by crater walls. The moon's surface is covered in a layer of powdery regolith, created by billions of years of micrometeorite impacts. These tiny space rocks constantly bombard the lunar surface, too small to create visible craters but gradually grinding the rock into finer and finer powder. This regolith is typically about 10 to 15 feet deep, though in some ancient Maria, the dark plains you can see from Earth, it can be much deeper. As you float peacefully above this ancient landscape, you notice the two main types of terrain. The bright, heavily cratered highlands, called terrae, are the moon's original crust, made of a light-colored rock called anorthosite, dating back 4.4 billion years. These highlands cover about 83% of the moon's surface, their brightness making them stand out even from Earth, creating the impression of a glowing face in the night sky. The darker patches, called Maria, Latin for seas, are vast plains of solidified lava, created billions of years ago when massive asteroid impacts fractured the lunar crust, allowing molten rock from the moon's interior to flow out and fill the impact basins. These dark Maria are younger than the highlands, formed between 3.1 and 3.8 billion years ago, during a period called the Late Heavy Bombardment, when the inner solar system was being peppered with debris left over from the planet's formation. The Maria make up only about 17% of the moon's surface, but they're prominent on the near side, creating the patterns we interpret as the man in the moon or the rabbit depending on cultural tradition. Everything feels perfectly still as you take in this ancient geography. The moon has no atmosphere to speak of, just an incredibly thin exosphere with a total mass of only about 55,000 pounds, less than the mass of a large truck, composed mostly of helium, neon, and hydrogen, with traces of argon and other gases. This near vacuum means the lunar sky is always black, even during the day when the sun blazes overhead. Stars are visible at all times for anyone on the surface, creating a permanent twilight feeling, peaceful and eternal. Your peaceful drift carries you around to the moon's sunlit side, where you can witness the full glory of solar radiation striking the lunar surface. The temperature here, in direct sunlight, can reach about 260 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to boil water. Yet just a few feet away, in the shadow of a crater wall, the temperature plunges to minus 280 degrees, colder than liquid nitrogen. This extreme temperature variation occurs because the moon has no atmosphere to distribute heat, no protection from the sun's rays, no insulation against the cold of space. But despite these extremes, you feel only peace and comfort, floating in your perfect state of relaxation. As you drift, you notice how the sunlight creates stark contrasts on the lunar surface, bright whites and deepest blacks, with no gradual transitions, no atmospheric haze to soften the shadows. This harsh lighting might seem dramatic, but from your peaceful vantage point, it only enhances the moon's serene beauty, like a photograph carefully composed in black and white. You begin to understand the moon's phases, those changing shapes we see from Earth that have fascinated humanity since the beginning of time. The moon doesn't generate its own light, instead reflecting sunlight from its surface. As the moon orbits Earth, which takes about 27.3 days to complete one full orbit, the angle between the sun, Earth, and moon constantly changes, creating the phases we observe. When the moon lies between Earth and sun, with its unlit side facing us, we see the new moon, invisible in Earth's sky, a time of darkness and renewal. As the moon continues its orbit, moving eastward relative to the stars, a thin crescent appears, growing thicker each night during the waxing phase. After about 7 days, when the moon has traveled a quarter of its orbit, we see the first quarter, half the moon's face illuminated, looking like a perfect half circle in the sky. The moon continues to wax, growing fuller, until after about 14.5 days, it reaches full moon, when Earth sits between the sun and moon, and we see the entire sunlit face glowing in the night sky. Then the moon begins to wane, shrinking through gibbous phase to third quarter, then a thinning crescent, before returning to new moon and beginning the cycle again. This complete cycle, from new moon to new moon, takes about 29.5 days, slightly longer than the moon's orbital period because Earth is also moving around the sun, requiring the moon to travel a bit farther to return to the same phase. The silence wraps around you gently as you contemplate this eternal dance. Everything feels perfectly still. The moon's phases have regulated human timekeeping for millennia. The word month itself comes from moon, and many ancient calendars were lunar, based on these regular cycles. Even today, many cultural and religious observances follow the lunar calendar, from the Islamic calendar to the dates of Easter, from the Chinese New Year to the Jewish high holidays. As you float peacefully, you notice how the moon always shows the same face to Earth, a phenomenon called tidal locking. The moon rotates on its axis at exactly the same rate it orbits Earth, taking 27.3 days for both. This synchronous rotation means we always see the same lunar hemisphere, with only slight variations due to libration, a gentle wobbling that allows us to peek around the edges and see about 59% of the moon's surface over time. This tidal locking occurred billions of years ago, when the moon was much closer to Earth. Its gravity raised enormous tides in the moon's molten interior, creating friction that gradually slowed the moon's rotation until it became locked to Earth. Your peaceful journey carries you lower now, drifting slowly toward the lunar surface, and you begin to see the incredible detail of individual craters. Each one tells a story, preserves a moment in time, some over 3 billion years old, frozen in the airless perfection of the moon. The largest impact basin visible from Earth is called the South Polacan Basin, on the far side of the moon, stretching about 1,550 miles across and over 8 miles deep. It's one of the largest impact craters in the entire solar system, formed perhaps 4 billion years ago, when a massive asteroid struck the moon with such force that it excavated material from deep within the lunar crust, possibly even reaching the mantle. The impact would have been catastrophic, yet now, billions of years later, it rests in perfect peace, a gentle depression in the moon's far southern hemisphere. On the near side, the crater Tycho is one of the most prominent features, a relatively young crater, only about 108 million years old, which in lunar terms makes it almost brand new. Tycho has a diameter of about 53 miles and features a prominent central peak, formed when the crater floor rebounded after impact, like a frozen splash. Material ejected from Tycho created bright rays that extend across the lunar surface for over 900 miles, clearly visible during full moon, making Tycho one of the most recognizable features through a small telescope. The silence continues to wrap around you. Everything feels perfectly still as you drift over this cratered landscape. The Sea of Tranquility, Mare Tranquillitatis, stretches below you, its dark basaltic surface smooth and peaceful. This is where humans first set foot on another world, where on July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed their module, Eagle, and stepped out onto the lunar surface. Armstrong's first words: "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," were spoken here, in this quiet sea. The Apollo landing sites remain pristine, preserved exactly as the astronauts left them. The footprints they made in the lunar dust will last for millions of years, protected by the airless environment, no wind to blow them away, no rain to wash them smooth. The flags they planted, though likely bleached white by decades of harsh solar radiation, still stand at the landing sites, along with scientific instruments, descent stages of the lunar modules, and various pieces of equipment left behind to save weight for the return journey. Between 1969 and 1972, 12 astronauts walked on the moon during 6 successful Apollo missions. They collected 842 pounds of lunar rocks and soil, which scientists continue to study today, revealing the moon's history and composition. These samples showed that the moon's rocks are similar to Earth's in many ways, supporting the giant impact hypothesis, but they contain virtually no water and are completely devoid of organic compounds. The moon is a sterile world, beautiful in its barren simplicity, peaceful in its lifelessness. As you hover above the Sea of Tranquility, you can almost feel the presence of those who came before, their footprints a testament to human curiosity and courage. But rather than feeling lonely, the moon feels companionable, a faithful friend who has watched over Earth for billions of years, who will continue watching long after we're gone, patient and eternal. The lunar surface beneath you is covered with a thin layer of glass beads, created when micrometeorite impacts melted tiny portions of the regolith, which then cooled into spherical droplets. The regolith also contains small amounts of helium-3. An isotope rare on Earth but potentially valuable as a future fusion fuel, blown into the lunar soil by the solar wind over billions of years. Some scientists dream of one day mining this helium-3. But for now, it simply rests in the peaceful gray dust, waiting. You drift upward again, rising slowly from the surface, watching as the moon's ancient craters in Maria gradually blend back into the familiar face we know from Earth. As you ascend, you become aware of something invisible but profound, the moon's gravitational embrace extending across the 238,855 miles of space, reaching toward Earth, creating effects both powerful and beautiful. The moon's gravity is the primary cause of Earth's ocean tides, those rhythmic rises and falls of sea level that occur twice daily around our planet. As the moon orbits Earth, its gravitational pull creates a bulge in the ocean on the side of Earth closest to it, while inertia creates a second bulge on the opposite side. As Earth rotates through these bulges, any given coastal location experiences 2 high tides and 2 low tides approximately every 25 hours. The sun also contributes to tides, though less strongly due to its greater distance. When the sun and moon align during new moon or full moon, their gravitational pulls combine to create especially high spring tides, the name coming from the idea that the tide springs forth, not from the season. When the sun and moon are at right angles during the quarter phases, they partially cancel each other out, creating gentler neap tides. This eternal dance of gravity creates a rhythm that has shaped life on Earth, from the behaviors of marine organisms to human fishing and navigation traditions. The silence wraps around you gently. Everything feels perfectly still. But the moon's influence extends beyond ocean tides. It also creates tides in Earth's atmosphere, and even in the solid Earth itself, causing the planet to bulge slightly toward the moon. The ground beneath our feet rises and falls by several inches twice daily, though we never notice these Earth tides, so gradual and gentle are they. Even lakes and seas not connected to the ocean experience tiny tidal effects, though they're measured in centimeters rather than meters. This tidal interaction works both ways. Earth's gravity also affects the moon, and in fact, it's this tidal friction that's causing the moon to gradually drift away from Earth at that rate of 3.8 centimeters per year, about the speed fingernails grow. As Earth's rotation gradually slows due to tidal friction with the oceans, angular momentum must be conserved, so the moon's orbit expands to compensate. This process has been occurring since the moon formed, when it orbited much closer to Earth, perhaps as close as 15,000 miles, compared to today's 238,855 miles. Back then, about 4.5 billion years ago, Earth's day was only about 5 hours long, and the moon appeared enormous in the sky, many times larger than we see it today, creating tides hundreds of feet high. The moon's presence also created intense tidal heating within Earth, helping to keep the planet molten and geologically active, crucial for developing the conditions that would eventually support life. Over billions of years, as the moon drifted slowly outward, Earth's rotation slowed and days grew longer. The moon's stabilizing influence on Earth's axial tilt became established, creating the reliable climate patterns that allowed life to flourish. As you float peacefully in the darkness, you can sense this ancient partnership, this gravitational embrace that has bound Earth and Moon together since the solar system's birth. The moon is not just a companion but a caretaker, its gravity shaping our planet in countless ways, from ocean tides to the length of our day to the stability of our seasons. Without the moon, Earth would be a different world, perhaps one where life never evolved or evolved very differently. The moon's gravity has also affected human physiology in subtle ways during the Apollo missions. Astronauts experienced a strange sensation of being top-heavy, as though they might tip over forward, because in the moon's 1/6 gravity, the center of mass feels different. They developed a unique bunny hop style of movement, bouncing along the surface in a way that would be impossible on Earth. Using less energy than walking but faster, covering ground with an ease that looked almost playful in the mission videos. You drift higher still, moving away from the moon's surface, until you're positioned between Earth and Moon, perfectly placed to observe how moonlight travels across space, how it bathes Earth in that soft silver glow that has inspired poets and lovers, artists and dreamers, for all of human history. Moonlight is simply reflected sunlight, but something magical happens in that reflection. The moon's surface reflects only about 12% of the sunlight that strikes it, a reflectivity called albedo, making it actually quite dark, about as reflective as worn asphalt. Yet this relatively dim reflection creates the bright moon we see in Earth's sky, bright enough to cast shadows, to light nighttime paths, to inspire wonder. The quality of moonlight differs from sunlight in ways both measurable and poetic. Moonlight is about 400,000 times dimmer than direct sunlight, yet it's still bright enough to trigger certain biological responses. Many plants can detect moonlight and adjust their growth patterns accordingly. Some flowers close their petals during full moon, while others open. The moon's phases influence the behavior of countless species, from coral reef spawning time to the lunar cycle, to the migration patterns of certain birds and marine animals. The silence wraps around you gently. Everything feels perfectly still. Throughout human history, moonlight has been associated with mystery, romance, and altered states of consciousness. The word lunacy comes from luna, the Latin word for moon, based on the ancient belief that the full moon could affect human behavior and mental health. Modern studies have found little evidence for dramatic effects, though some research suggests the moon's phases may subtly influence sleep patterns, with some people sleeping slightly less deeply during the full moon. Animals certainly respond to moonlight in measurable ways. Many species use moonlight for navigation. Predators and prey adjust their behavior based on moon phase, with prey animals often hiding more during bright full moons when they're more visible. Some nocturnal animals time their activities to the darkest nights around new moon. Lions, for example, are more likely to hunt after sunset on darker nights when their prey can't see them as easily. The moon's light has guided human navigation for millennia. Sailors used the moon's position to help estimate longitude before accurate clocks were invented. Travelers planned journeys to coincide with full moon for the additional light it provided. Even today, in places without electric lighting, the difference between a moonlit night and a moonless one is profound, the full moon providing enough light to see clearly, to walk safely, to feel less isolated in the darkness. As you float peacefully between Earth and Moon, you notice how moonlight illuminates the space around you, creating a soft glow that seems to emanate from everywhere and nowhere. The photons bouncing off the moon's gray surface have traveled 93 million miles from the sun, then reflected across another 250,000 miles to reach your eyes, carrying energy that began its journey 8 minutes ago in the sun's core, where it was created by nuclear fusion, traveling for thousands of years to work its way out from the solar interior, then racing across space at light speed to illuminate both Moon and Earth. The full moon is not uniformly bright when viewed from Earth. There's a phenomenon called the opposition effect, where the full moon appears brightest right at the moment of exact opposition, when Sun, Earth, and Moon are perfectly aligned. This happens because at that precise moment, shadows disappear from view. Every crater and mountain is illuminated from directly behind the observer's viewpoint, eliminating all shadows and making the moon appear suddenly brighter, as though someone turned up a dimmer switch. Your journey carries you around now, drifting along the moon's orbit, moving gradually from the familiar near side to the mysterious far side, the hemisphere that always faces away from Earth, never visible from our planet due to tidal locking. This far side isn't a dark side, a common misconception. It receives just as much sunlight as the near side, but it is hidden from Earth, unknown to humanity until 1959, when the Soviet spacecraft Lunar 3 first photographed it. As the far side comes into view, you notice immediately how different it looks from the near side. The far side has almost no dark maria, those smooth volcanic plains that make up the familiar features we see from Earth. Instead, the far side is heavily cratered, rugged, ancient, dominated by bright highlands. This difference occurred because the moon's crust is thicker on the far side, making it harder for ancient volcanic lava to break through and flood impact basins. The silence continues to wrap around you. Everything feels perfectly still. The far side feels remote, isolated, a place untouched by Earth's gaze. When Apollo astronauts orbited behind the moon, they lost radio contact with Earth, completely cut off from human civilization, alone with only each other and the strange cratered landscape below. They were the first humans to see the far side with their own eyes, to witness this hidden hemisphere directly. Michael Collins, who orbited alone in the command module while Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the surface, experienced the most profound solitude any human has ever known, behind the moon, out of contact, watching over his crewmates from orbit. The far side contains the moon's largest impact basin, the South Pole Aitken Basin we mentioned earlier, a vast scar from an ancient collision. It also features some of the moon's highest mountains, peaks that rise up to 26,000 feet above the surrounding terrain. Though without an atmosphere, there's no weather to erode them, no wind to wear them down. They remain sharp and angular after billions of years. One of the most intriguing features on the far side is a region of intense magnetic anomalies, areas where the lunar crust is locally magnetized, creating weak but measurable magnetic fields. The moon as a whole has no global magnetic field today, but these anomalies suggest it once did, billions of years ago, when its interior was still molten and capable of generating a magnetic dynamo like Earth's. These ancient magnetic fields became frozen into certain rocks as they cooled, preserving them like fossils of the moon's magnetic past. As you drift peacefully over the far side, you feel a sense of deep tranquility. This is perhaps the most isolated place in the solar system, the only location where Earth is never visible, where the blue of our planet never appears in the black sky. For future lunar bases, the far side offers unique opportunities. Radio astronomy facilities there would be shielded from Earth's radio noise, able to detect faint signals from the early universe without interference. It's the quietest place humanity could access, perfect for listening to the cosmos. The far side also experiences extreme temperature variations, because it never receives Earthlight, that faint illumination from our planet that helps moderate temperatures on the near side. During the lunar night, which lasts about 14 Earth days, temperatures on the far side can drop to minus 297 degrees Fahrenheit, among the coldest naturally occurring temperatures in the inner solar system. Everything feels perfectly still as you complete your circuit around the moon, returning gradually to the familiar near side, to the face that has watched over Earth since before life emerged, since before the continents formed, since before the oceans filled, patient and faithful, never leaving, always present. You drift into a perfect position now, aligned with the sun, Earth, and Moon, about to witness one of nature's most spectacular phenomena, a total solar eclipse. From your vantage point in space, you can see the moon's shadow racing across Earth's surface at thousands of miles per hour, a circular patch of darkness sweeping across continents and oceans, bringing temporary night to the daytime. Total solar eclipses occur because of a remarkable cosmic coincidence. The sun is about 400 times larger than the moon, but it's also about 400 times farther away. This means both objects appear almost exactly the same size in Earth's sky, about half a degree across, allowing the moon to precisely cover the sun's disk during an eclipse, creating that magnificent sight of the solar corona, the sun's outer atmosphere, visible as a pearly white halo around the moon's black silhouette. The silence wraps around you gently. Everything feels perfectly still. Total solar eclipses don't happen every month even though the moon passes between Earth and Sun each new moon, because the moon's orbit is tilted about 5 degrees relative to Earth's orbit around the sun. Most months, the moon passes above or below the sun from Earth's perspective. Only when a new moon occurs near one of the 2 points where the moon's orbit intersects Earth's orbital plane, called nodes, does an eclipse occur. Solar eclipses can only be seen from a narrow path across Earth's surface, typically about 70 miles wide and a few thousand miles long. Those lucky enough to be within this path of totality experience a few minutes of daytime darkness, with the sky turning deep blue, stars and planets becoming visible, temperature dropping noticeably, and animals behaving as though night has fallen. Birds may stop singing, nocturnal animals might emerge, the world briefly transformed. The longest possible total solar eclipse lasts only about 7.5 minutes, and most are much shorter. The July 1991 eclipse, visible from Hawaii and parts of Mexico and Central America, lasted 6 minutes and 53 seconds, nearly the maximum possible, making it one of the longest eclipses in modern history. But as the moon continues to drift away from Earth, total solar eclipses will eventually become impossible. In about 600 million years, the moon will be too distant to completely cover the sun. And future eclipses will all be annular, with a ring of sunlight visible around the moon's edges. Lunar eclipses occur when Earth passes between the sun and moon, casting its shadow on the lunar surface. Unlike solar eclipses, lunar eclipses are visible from anywhere on Earth where the moon is above the horizon, and they last much longer, up to several hours for the partial phases and over an hour for totality. During a total lunar eclipse, the moon doesn't disappear completely but turns a deep red-orange color, earning the nickname blood moon. This red color occurs because Earth's atmosphere refracts some sunlight around our planet, bending red wavelengths into Earth's shadow where they illuminate the moon. The exact shade depends on atmospheric conditions. Volcanic eruptions that fill the atmosphere with dust can make eclipses darker, while clear conditions produce brighter, more orange eclipses. As you watch these celestial alignments from your perfect vantage point, you appreciate how special they are, how they depend on precise mathematical relationships between orbits and sizes, how they've inspired wonder in every human culture that witnessed them. Ancient peoples sometimes feared eclipses, interpreting them as omens, but they also used them to track time, to test their astronomical knowledge, to demonstrate the predictability of cosmic motions. The 223-month Saros cycle, known to ancient Babylonian astronomers, allows eclipses to be predicted centuries in advance. After one Saros period, equal to 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, the Sun, Earth, and Moon return to nearly the same relative positions, and eclipses repeat in similar patterns. This beautiful mathematical regularity, this cosmic clockwork, has fascinated astronomers for millennia, revealing the order underlying apparent chaos. As you drift peacefully in the Earth-Moon system, bathed in gentle light, your consciousness begins to sense the countless human stories woven around the moon, the myths and legends, the poetry and art, the cultural meanings assigned to this celestial companion throughout history. Nearly every human culture has developed moon mythology. The ancient Greeks saw Selene, the moon goddess, driving her chariot across the night sky. The Romans called her Luna. In Hindu tradition, Chandra is the moon god who rides a chariot pulled by white horses. Chinese mythology speaks of Chang'e, who drank an elixir of immortality and floated to the moon, where she lives eternally in the moon palace with only a jade rabbit for company. The silence continues to wrap around you. Everything feels perfectly still. Many cultures associated the moon with femininity, connecting lunar cycles to menstrual cycles, both averaging about 29.5 days. The moon became linked with fertility, motherhood, and the passage of time. In some traditions, the moon represented wisdom and intuition, in contrast to the sun's association with logic and action. These associations influenced medicine, agriculture, and daily life, with people timing activities to moon phases. Some cultures saw the moon as a transformative force. The word werewolf comes from this tradition, creatures that transformed under the full moon. Though scientifically unsupported, the belief that the full moon affects human behavior persists. Hospital workers and police officers often report busier shifts during full moons, though careful studies have found no statistical correlation. This might be confirmation bias, people noticing and remembering events during full moons while forgetting similar events during other times. The moon influenced early calendar systems worldwide. The Islamic calendar is purely lunar, with months beginning at the first crescent moon sighting, meaning Islamic dates shift relative to solar seasons over time. The Jewish calendar is lunisolar, adding an extra month periodically to keep holidays aligned with seasons. Even the Gregorian calendar we use today retains traces of lunar influence, with months originally based on moon phases, though they've since drifted out of sync. As you float peacefully, you sense how the moon has been humanity's constant companion. Present in every childhood, every romance, every moment of wonder when someone looked up at the night sky. The moon witnessed the first humans, the rise and fall of civilizations, every war and peace, every birth and death, unchanging yet ever-changing through its phases, patient and eternal. The moon inspired some of humanity's greatest poetry and art. Shakespeare mentioned the moon over 100 times in his works. Li Bai wrote achingly beautiful Chinese poems about moonlight and longing. Artists from every culture painted moonlit landscapes. Composers wrote Moonlight sonatas. The moon became a symbol for longing, for distance, for the unreachable, for beauty that exists beyond our grasp. Yet in 1969, humans reached that unreachable goal, stepped onto that distant surface, and the moon became not just mythology and poetry but geology and science, a place we've walked, a destination we've visited. The Apollo missions didn't diminish the moon's mystery and beauty, they enhanced it, showing that the moon is even more wonderful than imagined, a real world with its own landscapes and history, a stepping stone to the cosmos. You drift forward through time now, not billions of years but merely centuries and millennia, witnessing the moon's near future and humanity's relationship with it. The moon continues its slow outward drift, each year moving 3.8 centimeters farther from Earth. This gradual recession has been measured precisely using laser reflectors left on the surface by Apollo astronauts. Astronomers shine laser beams at these mirrors and measure how long the light takes to return, tracking the moon's distance to within a few millimeters. In 1,000 years, the moon will be about 38 meters farther away, a distance barely noticeable. In 1,000,000 years, 38 kilometers, still relatively small compared to the current 384,400 kilometer average distance. But over hundreds of millions of years, the change becomes significant. The moon will appear smaller in Earth's sky, eclipses will become less frequent and eventually impossible. Tides will be weaker. The slowing of Earth's rotation will make days noticeably longer. The silence wraps around you gently. Everything feels perfectly still. But humanity's near-term relationship with the moon may change dramatically. Multiple nations and private companies are planning lunar missions. Some envision permanent bases where astronauts could live and work for extended periods. Mining operations might extract water ice from permanently shadowed craters near the poles, where deposits have remained frozen for billions of years, protected from sunlight. This lunar water could be invaluable, split into hydrogen and oxygen for rocket fuel, used for drinking and farming, making the moon a stepping stone for deeper space exploration. A lunar base could serve as a test bed for Mars mission technologies, a place to practice living on another world, but only 3 days from Earth rather than months. Tourism companies dream of offering lunar trips to wealthy adventurers. Imagine hotels on the moon, where Earth hangs enormous and beautiful in the black sky, where you could bounce along in 1/6 gravity, where every window offers views of stark beauty. Some proposals suggest building observatories on the far side, taking advantage of the radio quiet zone, where Earth's signals never interfere, allowing unprecedented sensitivity for detecting faint cosmic signals. Artists and poets might find inspiration in lunar landscapes. Musicians could record albums in the strange acoustic environment where sound travels only through solid matter, no air to carry vibrations. Writers could craft stories in lunar solitude. The moon might become not just a scientific destination but a cultural one, a place that transforms human creativity through its otherworldliness. As you drift through these possible futures, you sense that regardless of what happens, whether humans return to the moon or not, whether bases are built or the surface remains pristine, the moon will continue its patient orbit. Its presence will continue stabilizing Earth's climate. Its gravity will continue raising tides. Its light will continue inspiring wonder in anyone who looks up at night. In the far future, billions of years from now, the sun will swell into a red giant, expanding to engulf Mercury and Venus, possibly even Earth. The moon, if it survives, will be baked by intense heat, its surface melted. Whatever happens, the moon will witness Earth's final chapter, just as it witnessed Earth's beginning. Faithful companion to the end. But that's unimaginably far away. For now, the moon orbits peacefully, reflecting sunlight, raising tides, marking time, watching over Earth with ancient patience. Present in every night sky, accessible to everyone, requiring no telescope or equipment to appreciate, just eyes, and the willingness to look up in wonder. You begin to drift back now, slowly, gently, away from the moon, back toward Earth, but the moon's peaceful presence stays with you. You've traveled across its ancient surface, witnessed its birth, learned its secrets, and now you carry that tranquility back with you, back to the comfort of your bed, back to the softness of your pillow, back to the warmth of your blankets. The moon continues to shine above you, even though your eyes are closed. You can sense its gentle light, that silver glow that has comforted countless humans across all of history. The moon's gravitational embrace extends across the space between you, subtle but real, affecting the water in your body, just as it affects the oceans, creating tides within you, gentle rhythms that match the eternal dance of moon and earth. Everything feels perfectly still now. Your breathing has slowed to its deepest, most peaceful rhythm. Your heartbeat is calm and steady. Your body is completely relaxed, heavy and comfortable against the surface supporting you. You are safe, protected, watched over by the moon's gentle light, the same light that guided your ancestors, that will guide your descendants, eternal and faithful. The silence wraps around you like the softest blanket. You feel yourself sinking deeper into sleep, the moon's peaceful presence guiding you down into dreams. The facts you've learned tonight aren't facts anymore but feelings, sensations, a deep connection to this celestial companion that has been with Earth since the beginning. You drift deeper still. The moon's silver light filters through your consciousness, illuminating your dreams. You walk on lunar dust that hasn't been disturbed in billions of years. You float in 1/6 gravity, weightless and free. You look back at Earth hanging in a black sky, beautiful beyond words, fragile and precious. You understand now what the astronauts felt, that profound sense of connection to home, that perspective that changes everything. Sleep comes gently now, as natural as the moon's phases, as inevitable as the tides. You are the moon orbiting Earth. You are Earth orbited by the moon. You are stardust, ancient as the universe, connected to everything, part of the cosmos. The moon's light bathes you, soothes you, guides you into the deepest, most restful sleep. Your consciousness fades like the waning moon, crescent to sliver to invisible, but never truly gone, just hidden, waiting to return, renewed, refreshed, ready to wax again. The moon knows this rhythm, has followed it for billions of years, and now you follow it too, into sleep, into peace, into dreams. The moon watches over you now as you sleep, its ancient light touching your closed eyelids, its gravity gently pulling on the water in your body, creating subtle rhythms that match your breathing, your heartbeat, the slow waves of deep sleep washing over your mind like tides on a peaceful shore. You are completely relaxed, your body heavy and still, your mind quiet and calm. The moon has shared its secrets with you tonight, and now those secrets transform into peace, into rest, into the deepest sleep you've ever known. Everything you learn becomes part of your dreams, lunar landscapes, silver light, the infinite patience of celestial mechanics, the eternal dance of moon and earth. The silence is complete now, profound and gentle. You float in darkness, but it's the welcoming darkness of deep sleep, protective and comfortable. The moon's presence continues above you, always there, always watching, always faithful. You don't need to think about it anymore, just feel it, that gentle silver glow, that ancient companionship, that peaceful presence. Your breathing is so slow now, so deep and regular. Each breath like the moon's slow orbit, patient and perfect. Your heartbeat matches the rhythm of tides, rising and falling, constant and gentle. Your consciousness is dissolved into pure peace, pure rest, pure sleep. There is nothing to worry about, nothing to think about, only this perfect moment, this deep rest, this moonlit sleep. The moon drifts through space above you, moving 3.8 centimeters farther away each year, but tonight it feels closer than ever. You can sense its light through your closed eyes, its gravity through your body, its peace through your mind. You are connected to the moon now, part of the Earth-Moon system, bound by invisible ties of gravity and wonder, ancient and eternal. Sleep deeper now. The moon's phases continue their cycle without you, waxing and waning, new to full to new again, but you don't need to watch. The cycle continues whether you observe it or not, whether you're awake or asleep. The moon doesn't need your attention, it simply exists, patient and faithful, doing what it has done for 4.5 billion years, orbiting, reflecting light, raising tides, watching over Earth. And you do what humans have done for hundreds of thousands of years. You sleep under the moon's light. You dream beneath its glow. You rest in its peaceful presence. This is ancient, this is natural, this is right. Sleeping under moonlight, protected by the moon's gentle watch, drifting through dreams as the moon drifts through space, weightless, peaceful, perfect. The moon's light filters into your dreams now, creating landscapes of silver and shadow. You walk through moonlit gardens, you float above moonlit oceans, you rest in moonlit forests. Everything touched by moonlight becomes magical, peaceful, beautiful. Your dreams are gentle, soothing, filled with wonder. The moon has blessed your sleep, illuminated your rest, guided you into the deepest peace. There is nothing else now, only sleep, only peace, only the moon's gentle light. Your body is completely relaxed, your mind completely still. You have drifted beyond thought into pure rest, beyond awareness into pure sleep. The moon watches over you, the earth holds you, the universe embraces you, and you sleep deeply, peacefully, completely. The moon continues its orbit, patient and faithful, as it has for billions of years, as it will for billions more. And you continue to sleep, peaceful and deep, resting under its gentle light. You have journeyed across the moon tonight, learned its secrets, felt its presence, and now those experiences transform into the deepest sleep, the most peaceful rest, the most soothing dreams. The moon drifts slowly away from Earth. 3.8 centimeters each year, but tonight it's close enough to light your dreams, close enough to watch over you, close enough to keep you safe. Its silver light touches you even through closed eyes, even through deep sleep, a blessing from ancient times, a gift that has comforted humanity since the beginning. Sleep now, deeply and completely. The moon doesn't need you to watch it, it simply does what it has always done, orbiting Earth, reflecting sunlight, raising tides, being faithful. And you can simply do what you've always done. Sleep when tired, rest when needed, dream when possible. The moon will be there tomorrow night, and every night, patient and constant, waiting to light your way again. As you drift deeper into sleep now, completely relaxed under the moon's gentle light, remember this peaceful lunar journey can return whenever you need it. If these soothing moon facts helped you relax tonight and drift into beautiful dreams, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new calming sleep story every week. Sweet dreams, rest deeply, the moon watches over you gently. Sleep now, peacefully, completely.